we've got some history. Where did this come from? 70s and 80s is when the bulk of the initial development happened. We had Richard Bandler and John Grinder. John Grinder was a professor of linguistics. Richard Bandler was a long-haired weirdo freak, going to school. This was at UCLA, UC Santa Barbara. Stuff going on out there on the left coast, land of fruits and nuts. They were taking a look at modeling some greatness. In this case, what separated the people who were good at what they did from the people who were great at what they did. So they started out with Virginia Satir, Fritz Perls, Milton Erickson were three of the major people that they modeled. And they also took a lot of information from Gregory Bateson, Alfred Korzybski. Because Satir, Perls, Erickson, their main focus was therapy, that is often what people limit themselves to with NLP. NLP has a lot more aspects to it than just the therapy. That's one set of techniques. That's one model that was developed. But they developed their modeling skills. A lot of it still has that therapy twist to it. Milton Erickson was a medical doctor. He also was a hypnotist. A lot of his things were hypnotic phenomenon. He did a lot of work with overt hypnosis, things that were not, you're going deeper into a trance, you're getting sleepy. No, he did a lot of things. He would develop states in people that they could exhibit all of these hypnotic phenomenon without having any formal induction. So, we have, here's our lovely brief overview timeline. We have starting 75-ish is when they got together. These are the bulk of the books that came out of the Bandler and Grinder camp. Structure of Magic 1 and 2, we have a copy of that back here if you want to take a look at it. Patterns 1 and 2 is the patterns of the hypnotic techniques of Milton J. Erickson. And that came in 2 volumes. We have Frogs and Princes is actually in the library. We have that sitting in the back here. NLP Volume 1, we also have Robert Dilts working on that. We have quite a few names around the periphery that had a lot of input into it. And up until mid-80s, it was still mostly Bandler and Grinder. As they worked their way through here, they started collecting more people. Mid-80s was fairly well established. There were quite a few trainers doing their own thing. We find that since then, there's been some more developments that are more or less based on NLP. We have Richard Bandler. He's developed 2 new fields, as if NLP wasn't enough. He decided DHE, Design Human Engineering. We have NHR, Neurohypnotic Repatterning, which is yet another random field that is based on similar sorts of concepts. The NLP stuff underlies both of them, but they go beyond the initial aspect of modeling and designing these techniques. John Grinder, somewhere in that era, developed his new code, trying to bring the academic side back into the NLP, trying to refocus what people were doing as far as, they called it NLP, but it may or may not have been. So there's always been a bit of difference in viewpoint from Bandler and Grinder. They have their own idea of what is NLP. And there are people that say that NLP hasn't changed since the 70s, and they expect Bandler to not have changed since then. Well, he thinks that would be quite a bit hypocritical, since this is a lot about change, how you can develop new and interesting ways to do things, take a look at what's already happening, make it better. So, Grinder is actually sponsoring a graduate program down in Australia. We have John Laval. He's the core of the Society of NLP, working with Richard Bandler at the moment. We have Tad James doing Advanced Neurodynamics as his umbrella company. They've incorporated the Hawaiian Puna aspect into it as well. Again, not necessarily NLP itself, but they decided, hey, this looks a lot like that, so let's throw that in there too. And hey, they worked well together, which is probably one of those places that you end up getting a lot of weird ideas about, oh, NLP is a religion, NLP is New Age, NLP is this, that. No, not mystical, it's modeling, very scientifically based. but it certainly seemed like magic to quite a few people. So we have the Andreases and a host of other people that were on board in the 80s have formed their company, NLP Comprehensive, in Colorado. We have Ellen Michael Hall, Bob Bodenhamer. They went off and took beyond the NLP idea. Their idea is, oh, well, NLP talks about the structure. Let's look at what the meaning is behind the structure as well. So they have neurosemantics that they do. Anthony Robbins took his twist on all of his NLP training, went out and did neuroassociative conditioning, doing his own thing now. Joseph Riggio is doing the mythogenic self aspect, which is a whole new twist on what we can use the NLP skills for.